Hi, everybody, and welcome back to KC CHIROpulse, brought to you by Kats Chiropractic Consultants, helping chiropractors keep their pulse on success. I'm Dr. Michael Perusich with Kats Consultants, and today I've got Marisa Mateja with us. Marisa works with us, as you all know, and Marisa, very excited to have you here with us today. So, yeah, you and I were talking earlier that I had this just kind of a epiphany, I guess, the other day about the drip. Do you remember me telling you about that?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm standing there at the kitchen sink, and I've got the water on, and I'm just watching the water go down the sink, and I'm thinking, wow, once the water goes down the sink, I can't use it anymore. It's gone.
Mm-hmm.
But if I put the stopper in, then the sink begins to fill up. And I thought, holy cow, that's kind of like new patients versus retention in our practice.
Yeah.
And we preach this all the time, that new patient model, that old model of got to get more new patients, is kind of a crazy way to run a practice anymore, because really it's retention that grows your practice. And I'm standing there at the sink going, wow, no matter how hard, how fast you've got the water turned on, if the stopper's not in the bottom of the sink, it all goes away. And that's kind of what happens with new patients. When you bring in a whole bunch of new patients at once, they kind of flow on right out the back door.
Absolutely.
So I thought it'd be fun today to talk about kind of that new patient model versus the retention model. Sometimes we call it the wellness model. But how much of a difference that is and how that plays into kind of what patient mentality is these days.
Yeah, I mean, we know already that, to build a business, you need repeat business, right? I mean, you can't survive solely on always going after the new one. Which, unfortunately, in chiropractic, we find a lot of the marketing gimmicks, if you will, are all centered around that new patient, got to get the new patient in the door. Where in reverse, if you think about just retaining the ones that you have and making sure that they're coming in on a consistent basis, your practice should fill up really fast. I mean,
ours did.
Yeah, it did. And that's just something that I always find interesting in the chiropractic realm is it's always the new patient. It's always about the new patient versus true business techniques and things like we teach, those true business things that really will help build your practice.
Yeah, and so when you're thinking about kind of that new patient model, what's that look like? You're typically doing a lot of advertising, which costs you something. You're typically discounting your first and probably your second day fees, but at least your first day fees. And we see that all the time. My gosh, I saw one the other day. Somebody, for $9, you got a consultation, you got your exam, you got x-rays, you got a report of findings, you got a chiropractic adjustment, and a 30-minute massage.
Wow, and who wouldn't want to go in for at least one time to get that?
Heck yes, for $9, I can go see if I've got any problems on x-ray. I can get an adjustment and a massage for $9.
Yeah.
Okay? All that does is create tire kickers. So you get all these people coming in that have no intention of really being a patient. They're just kind of flowing in the front door and out the back. They're
absolutely
coming through the sink tap and down the drain.
Down the drain they went.
Down the drain they went. And you think about the flip side of that on the retention side, where you're putting that plug in the drain and you're keeping the patients in the clinic longer, to the point where now they're starting to refer patients.
Right.
Well, guess what? Referral patients are awesome because they pay your full fee. They already have some experience with you because some influencer, like a friend, has sent them to you, and they're ready to go and ready to be a long-term patient too.
Yeah.
So the drip is really where practice growth is at.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes sense and it works. It's amazing what practices can look like when they're not retaining, when they are stuck in that new patient model. We see it so often where that's all they've known, because that's what the gimmicks are out there. And that's what before we've talked about the shiny thing, and they see that shiny gimmick and they want to try that. But unfortunately, those gimmicks are just what they sound like. They're too good to be true sometimes. And the actual retention and profitability and growth of your practice just isn't there.
Yeah, and we see this all the time. We see, I can get you 20 new patients a month. I can get you 30 new patients a month. As a chiropractic business coach, I'll be honest, I don't really care how many new patients you have. I care about how many you keep from leaving your practice and turn into long-term patients, because that's where your growth is.
Absolutely.
And I'll give you a great example. And I'm going to use simplified numbers here, okay, just to make an analogy. If your normal first day fee is $100 and you're doing a promotion for 50, and for $50 they can come in and get everything you give on the first day, whatever that might be, okay? So you've given away 50 and they paid you 50. So what's 50 minus 50? I'll make it easy for everybody out there. It's 0. So you've got a 0 net revenue from that patient on day one, okay? If they drop out of care, which is typically about the 3rd visit is when most promotional patients drop out of care, and I know a lot of you out there going, oh yeah, that's kind of right. Or they drop out at the first progress exam, oh yeah, that's probably right. You're losing money. But if that...
It takes several patient visits to actually make up that 50 you gave away.
Yeah. And I'm going to come back to that in just a second, because you bring up a great point. But if they're dropping out of care, think about your retention patient. They're paying you $100, which is your actual fee. So 100 plus 0 is what? It's 100.
I think it's 100.
Yeah, right? So wouldn't you rather make 100 than 0? So, and isn't a referral patient a whole lot easier? Because by virtue of an influencer or somebody they know that sent them into you, they've had experience with you vicariously.
Yeah, and we know that some of the trends right now are showing that people want to go places that their friends have been. They want to go places that they know are reputable, safe, all of those things right now. So, it makes sense that referrals will be a much better patient all the way around.
Yeah, they're much easier. They're much happier. It's easier to build a relationship with them, and it's easier to get more information out of them. So now you know more about the patient, so you can take better care of the patient. So referral patients are so much easier to build a practice on, and they retain in your practice longer, which makes your practice grow faster and becomes more of a longevity practice than that way. And you think about, if we take our chiropractic hat off for just a minute, and you think about other businesses, and I don't care what it is, pick McDonald's, for example. McDonald's thrives on repeat business.
Yeah.
They're doing things to attract new customers in, yes, but most of those customers are coming vicariously because, yes, they recognize the brand. Okay, so that's important in your marketing. When you're marketing, you should be marketing your brand and the fact that you're the community expert on chiropractic care. But for the most part, they're coming because other people have been there that they know. I've asked, hey, is McDonald's any good in your town? Oh yeah, it's great. We go there all the time. Fantastic, I'm going to McDonald's. They go through the McDonald's drive-through, they grab a hamburger, they take a bite of it. Oh my gosh, this is as good as the McDonald's back in my hometown. So that's the point you have to get to. Walmart is another great example. They don't live on constantly bringing in new people. New people are coming vicariously, but they're catering to the people who come there all the time. So
absolutely. And that's why you see them, expanding their services and different things, because those repeat customers come back in and now they're going to use more of their services. Well, think about your chiropractic office. if you continually bring those people back and you have other services they haven't used yet, what a great opportunity you have sitting right in front of you for those repeat customers to be able to use other services that you already have.
Yep, that's absolutely right. And I want to come back to the new patient for just a minute. If you turn on the faucet really hard and create a flood of new patients coming in the door, what happens? You get incredibly focused on trying to manage the volume of new patients. And doctors and staff out there, is there a lot of work for new patients on the first and second day? Yeah, it's you got to build your electronic health record. You got a lot of paperwork with them. I mean, there's just a lot to do with them. So you're so focused on them and you're not paying attention to your other patients.
Right.
You're not paying attention to your current patients who could be generating referrals for you. And because you're not paying attention to them, guess what? They start sneaking out the back door too. Now you're losing the new patients because you got too many coming in. You're losing your your existing patients because you're not paying attention to them and not building relationships with them. Now you're losing everybody.
Yeah.
And you're so focused on that stuff that you're not creating a great experience for your current patients. It's kind of like the cable companies.
Yeah.
You know, cable TV for years did a deal. Come and be a cable company customer, and we'll give you HBO for 18 months for free, or whatever it might be.
Mm-hmm. And
Not picking on you, HBO.
Period, right? You stayed for that period of time.
Yeah.
Well, in the chiropractic example, if it's just for that new patient day that you're giving these discounts, and then they've got to pay those regular fees on that second day, you're blowing them out of the water before they even get started.
Yeah, sticker shock.
They weren't prepared. Yeah.
Yeah, sticker shock. Absolutely. Because you're not creating a long-term connection. It's not a long-term promotion. It's a one-day promotion. And then the next day the price goes up.
Yeah. So there's so many other things that we could get into with that just,
Oh my gosh.
it becomes such a bad piece of meat when we are talking about this stuff, but there are so many different layers to those promotions and what you're doing to your practice in general that you've got to be careful of. And if your consultants aren't talking to you about this, give us a call, because I honestly think that this is a conversation that most offices don't even think about in their practice. It's just about the marketing. It's just about the new patient, because that's what has always been in chiropractic. It's always about the new patient. It's not necessarily about the profitability and the health of the practice.
Yeah. And that brings me back to something you said just a little bit ago. And that's a lot of doctors don't even know they're losing money up front because they don't know how their overhead fits into the picture. And that's all I'm going to say about that right now. So this is the reason why so many of our members are just absolutely shooting the lights out, is because they're retaining more patients and they're understanding their cost structure of their clinic and don't have to create all these promotions that wind up offending patients and they wind up leaving. They've turned the faucet onto a drip, put the stopper in the drain, and their practices are filling up. So, any other thoughts there, Marisa?
Nope, you covered it all there.
I think that was a fun conversation. All right, Marisa, thanks for joining us today. Thanks for tuning in to KC CHIROpulse, brought to you by Kats Consultants, helping you keep your pulse on success. Be sure to check us out at katsconsultants.com. Check out our new subscription programs as well. You'll be interested in that. And from all of us here at Kats Consultants, stay informed and stay well adjusted. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.